Reading through the Bible in 1 year, April 21st, Numbers 1:47 through 234, Proverbs 25, John 7:1 through 31, and Hebrews 9:11 through 10:18. But the Levites were not listed among them by their ancestral tribe. For the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Only the tribe of Levi you shall not list, and you shall not take a census of them among the people of Israel, but appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of the testimony, and over its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. They are to carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings, and they shall take care of it, and shall camp around the tabernacle. When the tabernacle is to set out, the Levites shall take it down, and when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. And if any outsider comes near, he shall be put to death. The people of Israel shall pitch their tents by their companies, each man in his own camp, and each man by his own standard. But the Levites shall camp around the tabernacle of the testimony, so that there may be no wrath on the congregation of the people of Israel. And the Levites shall keep guard over the tabernacle of the testimony. Thus did the people of Israel. They did according to all that the Lord had commanded Moses." I went into some of that at the end of the last one. "The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, The people of Israel shall camp each by his standard, or by his own standard, with the banners of their fathers' houses. They shall camp facing the tent of meeting on every side. Those to camp on the east side toward the sunrise shall be of the standard of the camp of Judah by their companies. The chief of the people of Judah being Nahshon, the son of Amminadab, his company being listed as 74,600. Those to camp next to him shall be the tribe of Issachar, the chief of the people of Issachar being Nethanel, the son of Zuar. His company being listed as 54,400. Then the tribe of Zebulun, the chief of the people of Zebulun being Eliab, the son of Helon. His company, as listed, being 57,400. All those listed of the camp of Judah by their companies were 186,400. They shall set out on the first of the march. They shall set out first on the march. There we go. On the south side shall be the standard of the camp of Reuben by their companies. The chief of the people of Reuben being Elazar, the son of Shadur. His company being listed as 46,500. And those to camp next to him shall be the tribe of Simeon, the chief of the people of Simeon being Shalumiel, son of Zurishaddai. Zurishaddai. His company as listed being 54,300. Then the tribe of Gad, the chief of the people of Gad being Eliasaph, the son of Reuel. His company as listed being 45,650. All those listed of the camp of Reuben by their companies were 151,450. They shall set out second. Then the tent of meeting shall set out, with the camp of the Levites in its midst of the camps. As they camp, so shall they set out, each in position, standard by standard. On the west side shall be the standard of the camp of Ephraim by their companies. The chief of the people of Ephraim being Elishama, the son of Ammihud. His company being listed as 40,500. And next to him shall be the tribe of Manasseh, the chief of the people of Manasseh being Gamaliel, the son of Pedazur, his company being listed as 32,200. Then the tribe of Benjamin, the chief of the people of Benjamin being Abidan, the son of Gideoni, his company being listed being 35,400. All those of the camp of Ephraim by their companies were 108,100. They shall set out third on the march. On the north side shall be the standard of the camp of Dan by their companies. The chief of the people of Dan being Ahazar, son of Ammishaddai. His company listed as being 62,700. And those to camp next to him shall be the tribe of Asher. The chief of the people of Asher being Pagiel, the son of Okran. His company listed as being 41,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali. The chief of the people of Naphtali being Ahira the son of Enan. His company is listed being 53,400. All those listed of the camp of Dan were 157,600. They shall set out last, standard by standard. These are the people of Israel listed listed by their fathers' houses. All those listed in the camps of the companies were 603,550. But the Levites were not listed among the people of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus did the people of Israel, according to all that the Lord had commanded Moses. Excuse me. So they camped by their standards, and so they set out, each one in his clan, according to all his father's house. Now Proverbs 25. These also are Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied. It is the glory of God to conceal things, but the glory of kings is to search things out. As the heavens for height and the earth for depth, so the heart of kings is unsearchable. Take away the dross from silver, and the smith has material for a vessel. Take away the wicked from the presence of the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Do not put yourself forward in the king's presence, or stand in the place of the great. It is better for you to be told, "Come up here," than to be put lower in the presence of a noble. What your eyes have seen, do not bring hastily into court, for what will you do in the end, when your neighbor puts you to shame? Argue your case with your neighbor himself, and do not reveal another secret, lest he who hears you bring shame upon you, and your ill repute have no end. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting of silver, like a gold ring or an ornament of gold. Is a wise reprover to a listening ear. Like the cold of snow in the time of harvest is a faithful messenger to those who send him. He refreshes the soul of his masters. Like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. With patience, a ruler may be persuaded, and a soft tongue will break a bone. If you have found honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit it out. Let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have his fill of you and hate you. A man who bears false witness against his neighbor is like a war club or a sword or a sharp arrow. Trusting in a treacherous man in a time of trouble is like a bad tooth or a foot that slips. Whoever sings songs to a heavy heart is like one who takes off a garment on a cold day, and like vinegar on soda. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue, angry looks. It is better to live in the corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife. Like cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. Like a muddied spring or a polluted fountain is a righteous man who gives way before the wicked. It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glorious to seek one's own glory. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Now we are in John 7, 1 through 31. After this, Jesus went about in Galilee. He would not go about in Judea because the Jews were seeking to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of booths, remember booths means tents, right? We just learned about this, was at hand. So his brothers said to him, "Leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you are doing. For no one works in secret if he seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world." For not even his brothers believed in him. Jesus said to them, "My time has not yet come, but your time is already here. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify about it that its works are evil. You go up to the feast. I am not going up to this feast, for my time has not yet fully come. After saying this, he remained in Galilee. But after his brothers had gone up to the feast, then he also went up, but not publicly, but in private. The Jews were looking for him at the feast, saying, "Where is he?" And there was much muttering about him among the people. Well, some said, "He is a good man." Others said, "No, he is leading the people astray." Yet for fear of the Jews, again, anytime you see a capital J on Jews, what they're talking about is the ruling class of Jews, or the Jewish elders. No one spoke openly of him. About the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and began teaching. The Jews therefore marveled, saying, How is it that this man has learning when he has never studied? So Jesus answered them, My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I am speaking on my own authority. The one who speaks on his own authority seeks his own glory, but the one who speaks of the glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there is no falsehood. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. So why do you seek to kill me? The crowd answered, You have a demon. Who's seeking to kill you? Jesus answered them, I did one work, and you all marvel at it. Moses gave you circumcision, not that it's from Moses, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If on the Sabbath a man receives circumcision, so that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because on the Sabbath I made a man's whole body well? Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. Some of the people of Jerusalem therefore said, Is not this the man whom they seek to kill? And here he is, speaking openly, and they say nothing to him. Can it be that the authorities really know that this is the Christ? But we know where this man comes from, and when the Christ appears, no one will know where he comes from. So Jesus proclaimed as he taught in the temple, You know me, and you know where I come from. But I have not come of my own accord. He who sent me is true, and him you do not know. I know him, for I come from him, and he sent me. So they were seeking to arrest him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. Yet many of the people believed in him. They said, When the Christ appears, will he do more signs than this man has done? Now, Hebrews 9:11 through 10:18. But when the Christ appeared as a high priest of the good things that have come, then through the greater and more perfect tent, not made with hands. Again, the tent he's talking about, remember he was talking about the tabernacle and how the tabernacle itself has two different sections. You have the holy section and then the most holy section. Jesus, by doing his work, opened up that pathway into the most holy, which is what gives us direct access to God the Father in heaven. And saying that the holy section of the tent or the tabernacle of the Lord, or the temple, was where the priests would give sacrifice for themselves before they would give sacrifice for the rest of the people. But now we don't need to have someone, but now because our high priest is Jesus, he doesn't need to have someone make sacrifices on his own behalf, nor does he need to make sacrifices, there we go, on his own behalf, because he is, because he is perfect, because he never sinned. You only need to provide these sacrifices on your own behalf if you have sinned. Jesus never sinned. That's what makes him a better high priest, because he never sinned. Therefore, his work continues on forever. All right. So then through the greater and more perfect tent, not made with hands and not of this creation, he entered once for all into the holy places, not by means of the blood of goats and calves. Again, that's that same sacrifice we were talking about before, but by means of his own blood, thus securing an eternal redemption. For if the blood of goats and bulls, which in itself is not perfect, and the sprinkling of defiled persons with the ashes of a heifer, that's the process for sanctification of the temple, sanctify for the purification of the flesh, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, purify our conscience from dead works to serve the living God? Therefore, he is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance, since a death has occurred that redeems them from the transgressions committed under the first covenant. For where a will is involved, the death of the one who made it must be established. For a will takes effect only at death, since it is not in force as long as the one who made it is alive. Therefore, not even the first covenant was inaugurated without blood. For when every commandment of the law had been declared by Moses to all the people, he took the blood of calves and goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, which we also just read about, and sprinkled both the book itself and all the people, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant that God commanded for you." And in the same way, he sprinkled the book. He sprinkled with the blood both the tent and all the vessels used in worship. Indeed, under the law, almost everything is purified with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. Thus, it was necessary for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these rites, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ has entered not only into holy places, not into holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true things, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God on our behalf. Nor was it to offer himself repeatedly, as the high priest enters the holy places every year with blood not his own. Again, talking about Yom Kippur, when the high priest would go in with the blood of the goat that he would put on the horns of the altar and pour out. On the horns of the mercy seat, and then pour out for the unintentional sins of the people. Lost my spot. Right. As the high priest enters the holy places every year with blood not his own, for then he would have to suffer repeatedly since the foundation of the world. But as it is, he has appeared once for all at the end of the ages to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. Note, it says, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, not all. For since the law was but a shadow, has but a shadow of the good things to come, instead of the true form of these realities, it can never, by the same sacrifices that are continually offered every year, make perfect those who draw near. I'm going to restate that. For since the law has but a shadow of the good things to come, instead of the true form of these realities, the law itself can never, by the same sacrifices that are continually offered year after year, make perfect those who draw near. The law is incapable of doing these things. Otherwise, would they not have ceased to be offered, since the worshippers, having once been cleansed, would no longer have any consciousness of sins? But in these sacrifices, there is a reminder of sins every year, for it is impossible for the blood of bulls and goats to take away sins. Consequently, when Christ came into the world, he said, "Sacrifices and offerings you have not desired, but a body you have prepared for me. In burnt offerings and sin offerings you have taken no pleasure." Then I said, "Behold, I have come to do your will, O God, as it is written of me in the scroll of the book." When he said above, "You have neither desired nor taken pleasure in sacrifices and offerings and burnt offerings and sin offerings," these are offered according to the law. Then he added, "Behold, I have come to do your will." He does away with the first in order to establish the second. And by that will, we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. And every priest stands daily at his service, offering repeatedly the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins. But when Christ had offered for all time a single sacrifice for sins, he sat down at the right hand of God. Remember, in the temple, there is no chair, there's no couch, right? There's no cushion set aside for the priests when they get tired, because their work never ends. Because they're serving the law, which can never provide full payment for sins. It can't. But Jesus, because he was perfect and because his blood was perfect, his sacrifice on our behalf took care of all of these things at once. Therefore, he offered a single sacrifice for sins because his was perfect. And his is worth far more than all of the blood of bulls and goats and even humans in the world, right? He sat down because the work was complete. You don't need to do it again. Waiting from that time until his enemy should be made a footstool for his feet. For by a single offering, he has perfected for all time those who are being sanctified. I don't know how a Roman Catholic can read through this and think that they need to re-sacrifice Jesus every single week. That's what they're doing during the Mass. It is a re-sacrifice of Christ. I can't understand why they would need to do that after reading through this. Starting again in verse 15. "And the Holy Spirit also bears witness to us, for after saying, 'This is the covenant that I will make with them. After those days, declares the Lord, I will put my laws on their hearts and write them on their minds.' Then he adds, 'I will remember their sins and their lawless deeds no more. For where there is forgiveness of these, there is no longer any offering for sin.'" Behold, the word of the Lord.